Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Season 2 of the Inside the Orange podcast, the podcast all about understanding the people around us. In today's episode, we're going to be looking at everything that we've been doing since the end of the last season, and we're going to be looking forward to an exciting season of the Inside the Orange podcast. For now, let's get into the episode. Welcome back to the second season of the Inside the Orange podcast. I'm just so delighted with how far it's come in such a short space of time. And I'm doing something now that I've never done before, which is putting them on video. So this season is going to be videoed, and I'm absolutely buzzing for it. So what have we been up to since the season 1 finale back in December 2020? So our Just Giving page for the Walk for Autism on the Lego Brick Road has been launched. We're currently on £210 for that. So thanks so much for everyone who's donated so far. That's staying open for the duration. And again, it will be in the description. It'll be in the show notes. You can get a link to helping us with Just Giving. If you can share it, if you can donate, anything you can do is absolutely brilliant. But thank you so much for that. Bit of an update though, it has moved. It was originally due to be on the 3rd of April this year, but we've actually moved it to the 31st of May. Obviously, with everything going on at the moment, it was really important that we picked a date that was a little bit more accessible and things could be a little bit more open, and it was a lot safer for everyone who's taking part to walk in. It's for the National Autistic Society, if I haven't mentioned before, just a bit of a recap from the previous season. So the National Autistic Society's main objective as a charity is to transform lives, change attitudes, and create a society that works for autistic people. This is something that's been close to me and my wife, and in fact my entire family's life for a long time. And we want to help by giving back. So hopefully this walk is something that's going to help raise a bit of awareness, raise some money for a great cause. Something else I found we've been doing in kind of off season, I found something called the Mind Journal. This was a journal that I thought I'd be really interested in starting. It's something that documents kind of how you are. So not just generally what you've done from day to day, but how you have been in any day. So it can catch you on good or bad days. You document it down. It's a fantastic journal. It's available, say, from Mind Journal. Have a look at them. Again, I'll leave a little bit in the description so you can have a look at them. Absolutely enjoyed filling it in. It's really kind of something that's really good at looking at self-awareness and trying to kind of engage yourself. It is a fantastic thing. I'm not affiliated with them anyway, but it's something that at the moment, when I'm feeling however I'm feeling, it's good to just document it. And again, the best thing about when you write stuff down is it becomes a plan if it's something that you're planning for going forward. And it's also good to see sometimes when you are struggling, when things aren't going right, that actually, look, there are better days here. Or if you are in a great place, you can see how far you've come. So it's such an important tool of journaling at the moment, something I'm really getting into, and I'm excited to see how far it goes with it. So it's brilliant. The other thing we did recently, starting at the end of January, beginning of February, we started the Couch to 5. That was me and Mrs. S, my wife, lovely wife. We started that in a kind of way to get fit, but it was also a thing for me to start getting used to speaking on camera and being used to having a live document of what's going on just there and then, and just getting used to talking into something that wasn't just a microphone. Because again, last season, they were all just microphone podcasts. And as much as I loved them, I enjoyed them, and it was fantastic to do them even in that setting, it was a challenge for me. It was something I wanted to grow and do and develop and learn how to kind of do this. So this is the first video I've done that's solo. So again, it's a work in progress, and I love that. And I love, if people are out there trying and doing podcasts and they're starting to record what they're saying and doing, reach out, because I can take as much advice as anyone's willing to give me. And I'd love to talk about my experiences about what we're going through. So again, don't feel like on your own if you're doing something similar, talk to me, and this is what this is all about, trying to get out there and try and motivate people to get the best out of them. Speaking of motivation, I did something quite bold for myself, I think, which was I used the word motivational speaker in my LinkedIn bio. And this took a lot of time, and it was a lot of self-doubt in there, thinking, well, are you actually a motivational speaker? And I looked at it and thought, well, yeah. So what is a motivational speaker? It's someone who talks and tries to kind of change attitudes, tries to raise different awareness or things up that might help someone else, might motivate someone else to go and do what they do, And so it's something I've done, and I love it. And I'm going to continue trying to be motivating. The Couch to 5K, as I said, I started with my wife. That was a kind of thing for me as well, to see if I can motivate. So my wife is, I come from a place where I couldn't run. I was laid off for a few months for various reasons. I didn't do it. And I wanted to see how I could go back out and do Couch to 5 and learn from the basics. And then when you've got someone with you who's kind of looking for you to support and looking for you to go with them and things like that, that's a type of coach. That's a type of having to coach someone and how to have to be there for someone and try and get them over the line with you. So, that was really important that I had that at home, that my wife doing the running also kind of was able to see me kind of help, but not kind of do it for her. I've never forced my wife to do the running. I never said, oh, you've got to do it because it will look good for me. I don't worry about that. If she wants to do it, she's got to come and do it. But what I can be is that person there that's trying to help her get over the line, try and help her make a change. And again, I'm making a change in myself. I'm doing the running again after a long layoff. And I just think, yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic. So one of the things that's been most kind of challenging is the videos, is going out there and saying things and talking, as I'm doing now, talking about things that, are important to me. And I think that's really important. So the reason I wanted to start videoing is because I want you to see who's talking. Do you know what I mean? It's all good doing the podcast. And again, for people listening on the audio through Apple Podcasts and Spotify or wherever you like your podcasts, it's really important that you continue that if that's how you like it. But if some people need a visual, I just wanted to say, well, hello, here I am, and this is what I'm doing. It's still very early days. It's still very basic, but I want to do this Inside the Orange podcast as a growth, as a development, something that we can grow over time. And again, it takes an audience to do that. So if you're finding this on YouTube, then fantastic, but no different if you find it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. However you find it easier to kind of relate to someone, that's how you should listen to these podcasts, because that's what it's all about. It's about how well you receive it, not what I kind of do. It's completely audience led. So I want to talk about what's coming up in this season. So same format as last season. I'm going to be doing interviews and bits and pieces with people that are outside of my knowing. So last season, there were people that I interviewed and they were great guests, absolutely brilliant guests last year, all brought something completely different to the table. But out of all the guests I did, I knew most of them. So it was kind of like a little bit of a comfort zone. What's been great this season as well is people coming to me and saying, can you hear my story? Can I tell my story? Can you speak to me? And that's brought a whole new challenge to me, because it's people that I don't know. So when you are interviewing people, you want to give them the best opportunity. You want to give the best time for them to tell you about themselves. And when you know them, you know what kind of makes them tick. In the terms of Inside the Orange, when you know people, when you know what they're about, you know what makes them tick and what you're going to get the best out of them with. The challenge for this season was not knowing these people. Biggest challenge, not knowing these people. So when they came to me and said, oh, can I tell my story? If I went to them and said, I like your story, tell me about it. Building that up to make an episode was kind of like a challenge, but it was brilliant, because what I have learned, and you'll find out from when you see the interviews or hear the interviews in the future episodes, that the interviews, the guests that came on gave me everything, just absolutely whatever I asked them, they answered. And that is all you want when you're interviewing people. That is all you want. If you ask them a question, this is what you get. And the beautiful thing about what I want to do with Inside the Orange is that's the most important thing. let you tell your story, because I'm not here to tell your story. I can't tell your story. The best person to tell their story is the person that's there to tell it. Now, these podcasts, as I say, every other episode, there'll be a bit of me. And then every other episode, there'll be the interview with some great guests. So I'm going to give you a little rundown of who we got. So my first guest in the next episode, in the next podcast, will be Sally Bryder. Sally is an amazing marathon long distance runner that came to running at later age. I believe she's around 53 when she started, but she is absolutely inspirational. She does a lot of stuff posting for the Essex Front Runners. She's just incredible. And when you listen to her story, I just want so many people to hear just how it's never too late to go out and try and master something, and to go out and enjoy something, and to go out and just be such a motivating and inspirational person from what you do. So absolutely buzzing for that. The episode that will follow that, or sort of the next interview that follows that, will be with an old friend of mine. He's called Luke Bromley. He's works for Keyline now. He's an old friend. He's someone that worked for me years ago, and I only found out recently what he was going through when he was working for me. And it was such a heart-rendering story, and what was going on, that when he sent me his story, I was like, yeah, we're doing this. We absolutely want to talk about it. And again, he comes into the interview with such kind of open and honesty that it's just so easy to hear him tell his story. And it's just brilliant. I've also got Steve Gamblin, the motivational firewood guy. Again, we had some absolute a belting conversation that I'm so touched to know that he kind of went away and kind of took something from our interview. And I mean, that is the blessing of all blessings. When you're doing podcasting and you think, you want to get your guest interviewed, when someone comes back and said, I took this from your interview, that's the gold medal for me. That's where I know things are going good. That's when I know that I'm asking the right questions, nothing on me there, but completely on having guests that are so willing to give their heart and soul to an interview to kind of learn and to kind of grow from it, because it's lovely to hear when people tell their stories. I learn so much. I learn about them, but when they take away something, and they tell you, thank you, it's brilliant. So honestly, Steve's interview is such an amazing guy, lovely guy. We interviewed a couple of weeks back when I was doing it, and he just, as I say, I really want people to kind of take away from that, because it's a very heartwarming story where it's kind of come from, and a lot of difficult times, and where it's all kind of been from. Then a friend of mine through LinkedIn, somebody I didn't know, and when I started to look at motivational speaking, and when I started to look at where I wanted to be in the world, I found this person, Mark Holson, who is a leadership coach, but everything he was saying, I was going, tick, yeah, that's right, tick, yeah, I've heard, I've been there, yeah, tick, I've been there. And not in any way taking away from his own, but when you start finding people that are there telling stories that you think, yeah, that resonates with me, my God, I listened to these stories, and I watched his work, and I just felt so kind of amazed just that there are other people out there who may have experienced things, or may have gone through things, and may have learned the same way I've done. And again, he's had such a great career, and he's got such a great humor about his career and what's going on. And yeah, again, just talking about leadership. And I think leadership at the moment is so important, about making sure you understand the people you lead, and making sure you understand yourself in all that as well. So again, that's a very, very important episode that I'm, again, buzzing to get out. And I've also got, at the moment of recording, as I say, there is still time for people to come in if they want to tell their stories. I'm more than happy to, reach out to me. The email address will be in the description or show notes. Get in touch, find me. I'll give you some information about how you can find me in a minute if you don't remember from last season. I'm not going to hold anyone to it. But my last one so far has been with the guys from the Autism Rocks and Rolls podcast, which is a young lad from the US, Sam Mitchell, who he has autism, he has Asperger's, and he likes to he's got thousands of different kind of stories to tell. Sam's Stories is on Facebook. Have a look for that. But just different bits and pieces. He's had some fantastic guests on his show. And it was really important for me, after doing an episode last season about autism from a dad's perspective, it was really important for me to hear it from Sam's perspective. Now, what's even better with that interview is not only did I get Sam, but I got Sam and his mum Gina and his dad Doug all came in and gave me their kind of takes on autism. And it was fantastic to hear. And as I say, it's a great lesson to learn from. It's a great interview because, as I say, the honesty is there as well. And go and check out Sam's podcast because, as I say, it's lovely, brilliant to see. And he's doing absolutely amazing. And again, they were great guests. And the most wonderful thing I can say about the guests I've had for this season so far is that they are all people that I will be keeping in touch with, because they're all people that have made my life a little bit better. And that's all we want at the end of the day. We want people in our lives that make us better. And yeah, 100%. So the other things really, so let me tell you how you can get in touch or how you can find the rest of my work and all that, or our work at the moment. So you can find us on Instagram. So we're on Inside the Orange on Instagram. We post nearly everything onto Instagram. We've got a Twitter page, which is Orange Watts. So it's at Orange WHATS, as in Watts, because it comes from the idea of what's inside the orange. When I first started this up, that was what it was called. What's inside the orange? We've got a Facebook page called the Inside the Orange Podcast. We're also now on TikTok. Now, I'm an old boy, sitting there, and someone said, you've got to try to. In fact, it was Gary V. I listened to the Gary V podcast, and he said, why are people not on TikTok? And I was like, right, I'm going to have to swallow my pill and get on TikTok. So I have done. Again, very, very new onto TikTok. So don't overly judge. But yeah, as I say, I do try and post some bits onto that. And again, you can find me on LinkedIn. So it's Richard Stevens, as I say, a motivational speaker and creator of the Inside the Orange podcast, which is where we are today. So again, if you want to get in touch, please do. I'm also looking at this year. I've just been in touch with a great company called Born Anxious about getting a hoodie, which I will be replacing this one with in most episodes. They have sensory clothing, so people that with sensory needs that can't wear labels or things like that. It's something that's really important, and it just sometimes explains through a t-shirt, what people are kind of living with, or how they are. So I'm going to be having a Born Anxious sweatshirt sent. So I'm thankful for Born Anxious for doing that. And as I say, I'm going to be wearing it in the podcast. This part of the Strong Dads Club. As a dad with someone with autism, then that's really important to me that we kind of help that. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of it for where we've been and what we've been up to. I'm 100% sure that my friend Goddo will be in to talk about some bits and pieces that he's going to be doing this year. He's obviously had to make a little bit, and I hope he doesn't mind me saying, but he's had to make a delay on one of his walks for this year, the Patino Cares walk he was going to do because of what's going on at the moment. But we'll have him back in, and we'll have him talking about all the stuff that he inspires us for. So I'm looking forward to seeing him too. But as I say, for today, this was just a little brief run of where we've been, what we've been up to, and what you can expect from season 2. And again, this little breakthrough of me sitting on a camera. So every day is a school day. Every day is sometimes you can learn. I'm so delighted to be back. I'm so looking forward to season 2. Guys, if you can help with the Just Giving for the Walk for Autism, I'd be absolutely delighted. Check us out, as I say, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Just have a look for us, and honestly, get in touch and tell me your amazing stories. I'm so looking forward to seeing and hearing from you in this year, in this season. And thanks for getting through this first episode of the Inside the Orange podcast, season 2. And next week, we'll be back with the great Sally Bryder to tell her amazing, motivational, inspiring story. Take care, guys. And thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to this episode. If this podcast is something you enjoy, then please subscribe to the podcasts and make sure you like and share so more people can hear our message. Remember, if you have any questions for me or my guests, you can get in touch via our website, insidetheorange.co.uk, on Twitter @OrangeWatts, on Instagram @InsideTheOrange, or on Facebook on the Inside the Orange podcast. And finally, there's the email of insidethisorange@gmail.com. All these links will be available in the description. Thanks for listening. Goodbye and take care.